Welcome to the NBA GOAT, the home of basketball history, legendary players, and unforgettable moments. My name is Paul. I talk about the greatest icons, the hidden gems of the game, and break down everything that made the NBA what it is today. Let's get started. Not long ago, there was an interview with one of the bad boy Pistons, Rick Mahorn. And Mahorn played for the Pistons from 85 to 89, and then, like, at the end tail of his career as well. He was a big part of the Bad Boy Pistons in the late 80s. And the Bad Boy Pistons that actually beat up on the Chicago Bulls before the Bulls were able to beat up on the Pistons in 91. Now, Mahorn took part in the Bulls beatdown in 1988 when the Pistons beat the Bulls 4-1 in the Eastern Conference semis, and also in the series in 1989, the year after, when the Bad Boys again disposed of the Bulls and Michael Jordan, winning that series 4-2 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Mahorn wasn't a star in any take, but in both series he played about 100 minutes each, so he did put some time in that series and provided very limited scoring. But his main job was being a tough presence, a bruiser kind of a player. A defender in the paint, and an enforcer like Charles Oakley used to be for the New York Knicks. He was that for the Pistons. Now, he was a role player out there to get boards and just be physical and a defensive presence and protect the basket. Now, in the interview I mentioned, it was an interview from a podcast with Cedric Ceballos from the NBA. You could search him up. He played in the league for a while. And Cedric Ceballos had an interview with Mahorn, and this is where these comments came in. And in the interview I mentioned in the beginning, he was asked about the Last Dance series, and which we all watched. And what he was asked basically what was his reaction to it, because the Pistons were mentioned in that series extensively, and his response couldn't have been more in a bad boy Piston character, if you ask me. Watch for yourself, and I'll give you my take on that right after. Here you go.
Right. Well, Rick, I was going to say earlier, man, you mentioned, we talked about Michael Jordan. I was thinking about 2020 and, the Last Dance, how everyone's eyes were glued to the TV every Sunday with the world shut down, COVID shut down and all that. What was that experience like for you? He spent a good deal talking about the Pistons and getting over that hump. And just what was your reaction overall to what he said about the Pistons and Isaiah and just the whole thing?
Man, I ain't watched that shit. 10 hours of my
Come
time.
on, Rick. I know you saw segments.
I swear, here's my right hand to God. I didn't watch that shit, and I didn't care.
Oh man, during the pandemic, what were you doing Sunday night? Chilling?
Watching. I got kids and shit. I'm sitting there watching movies and shit that I ain't seen in a long time. I ain't traveled, but I wasn't watching no Last Dance. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Because the last time I remember when I was in the Pistons uniform, I whooped that ass.
Ooh. All right.
So I dropped the mic. I just dropped the mic.
Yeah, you dropped the mic, bro. Hey.
Now, I have to tell you that I watched this answer from Mahorn after he was asked that question a few times. And every time I watched it, I have a different reaction. And I'm going to just tell you real quick about the first two times that I watched it. At first, I was a little upset, but that was an emotional, unexpected response, as I'm a big Michael Jordan fan. But I watched it again, and second time I watched it, I understood where he was coming from. The second time, I took it as an adult with no emotion, just a basketball fan, remembering, the late 80s and 90s NBA. And I, the second time I watched it, I actually laughed at it a little bit. The guy is 66 years old now. He only played those two series against the Bulls in the bad boy days. And he hated Mike and the Bulls at the time. He just hated them. That's the character he's still in. And you have to remember, as he mentioned, the last time he played the Bulls and Jordan, while being a Piston, as he said, he whooped that ass. and he basically did. In 1988 and 1999, they beat the Bulls. He whooped that ass. But, Mahorn wasn't much of an ass whooper himself as at that time, except maybe being physical and, being physical with Michael and being physical with the Bulls under the basket. But he never lost to the Jordan Bulls as a bad boy Piston. That was basically the point. And he doesn't have the feeling of the Bulls defeating them from that 1991 series because he wasn't, a Piston any longer. He was a Sixer at the time. And Mahorn is a straight up shooter. From that interview, I never seen him talk much, but as I watched this interview and the way he conducts himself, the way he talks, he's a straight up shooter. He doesn't give a F what anybody thinks. He'll share his opinion. He's that kind of guy. And I like that. Straight to the point, saying what he thinks, not, being politically correct or anything. He's a no BS guy, basically. And he just looked at it as, why should I waste my damn time on watching another team's and another player's series? Their history. Why should I do that? I mean, he just didn't give a crap. And I can respect that. It was an honest answer for him. And that's it. The response was funny in a way. When he said he whooped that ass. And I laughed at that when he said it. He has grandkids now. He had his kids, I believe, and family. And basically, as an adult, 66 years old, he's got more important things to do than sit in front of the TV and watch another NBA player's story. He lived an NBA life himself. He went through the NBA life. He played many years in the league. I don't know exactly how many, but he played a lot of years in the league. While Jordan was in the league, and he didn't need another, up close look at the guy and the Bulls themselves. As a bad boy Piston, he will never give any credit to Michael Jordan, just like Isaiah. Never. I mean, back in the day, in the beginning, Isaiah was kind of giving a little bit credit to Jordan and the Bulls. But since that rift with Jordan and Isaiah, was brought back in the media and all that other stuff, him, Isaiah Thomas, and Bill Laimbeer, there's nothing positive those guys could, you could hear them say about the Bulls from the 90s or late 80s or Michael Jordan. They always, even both of them, they always favor LeBron James now. And they always say LeBron James is the greatest player of all time. And it's not because LeBron James is a better player, but it's still, in a way, a shot at Michael Jordan in a rivalry that just doesn't seem to have ever ended, ever died. And Mahorn was adamant and used some tough words when he was speaking to make it known that he didn't watch The Last Dance and that he didn't watch any clips or parts of it. He just did not care to waste his time on it. He simply told us that for him, it would have been a total waste of time. And he preferred watching, he preferred watching reruns of old movies than to watching The Last Dance and the Bulls. So I can understand that. Now, from the history Mahorn came from, and because of the league he played in, I totally understand his response. And in his place, to be honest, I might have had the same exact response. And to tell you the truth, I don't really even know if, let's say, Bill Laimbeer watched the series, The Last Dance, and if asked, I would also see him having that exact kind of response as well. I got to do some research because I don't think Bill Laimbeer was ever asked about it. And if he was, I got to get that answer because that's probably an interesting answer, and I might talk about that in the future. The Pistons were the bad boy Pistons for a reason. And they will never relinquish that character and approach, especially while talking about the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan. Now, let me know what you guys think of Mahorn's response and how did you take it when you heard it? Let me know if it was disrespectful in any way. Or maybe you took it the same way as I did. I don't know. Share it in the comments, and I'd love to know about it, and I'll respond to it. Now, thanks for watching, and see you soon in the next video. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.